I came from a broken home. My dad left when I was 6. I didn't really have any father figures growing up. So I created my own. I watched movies like Scarface and Goodfellas and Casino. I started to get into a fairy tale mindset. That's all I knew growing up. And like I said, I watched these movies. I looked at BET and MTV, and I found out how to be cool. I found out how to be accepted. I had this great fear on being made fun of, and I didn't want to be that person. I never knew my identity, you know. My mom went to war in Bosnia when I was in the 4th grade, and I ended up moving here to Florida to Bradenton and stayed with my grandma for a year. And that's when things really got haywire. I first started using drugs when I was in the 4th grade. 6th grade, it got really out of control. I started using cocaine. I joined a gang. I didn't know where my life was going. Ended up being really good at football in high school. My senior year, everything started to go downhill. I got a full football scholarship to the University of South Florida, and I stayed there for a month and a half before I got kicked out. And I ended up joining the Army. I got kicked out of the Army for selling drugs, and not many people get kicked out of the Army. I started selling heroin. I started getting addicted to heroin. At the peak of my addiction, I was doing 3 grams of heroin a day. And it came down to one night. I was so strung out, I ended up being in my closet, and I had 2 pistols in my hand. And I remember thinking, on my knees in my closet, thinking like, I'm either going to kill myself or somebody else. And I was like, God, if you are who people say you are, you can save me from this. And the next day at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, my house got raided. My first offer from this district city attorney was 30 years in prison. And I was sitting in my cell one night, and I started getting these flashbacks. And it was really a God encounter, and the Lord started showing me every place where He was, where I should have been dead. And I heard His voice. I heard the voice of God. And He asked me if I was done. And right then and there, I dropped on my knees in the middle of my jail cell, and I just cried out to the Lord, and I accepted Jesus into my heart. And through a long legal process, instead of getting 30 years, I ended up getting 120 days in jail, 6 months house arrest, 2 years probation. In that process, I decided I was going to seek the Lord with all my heart, and I was going to find people who were like myself and tell them they didn't have to live that lifestyle. And that's how I got transformed.